In the heart of Chicago, where skyscrapers pierced the sky and the streets never truly slept, there existed a guardian shrouded in secrecy and darkness. Amid the cacophony of car horns, distant sirens, and murmured conversations, a figure loomed high above, cloaked in the shadows of the city's Gothic architecture. This figure was a gargoyle, a creature of stone by day and a fierce protector by night, known to none but feared by all who embraced evil. As the last rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon, the city took on a different life. Neon lights flickered to life, casting an eerie glow on the bustling streets. High atop one of the oldest buildings, a gargoyle began to stir. Its stone skin cracked and fell away, revealing leathery wings, sharp claws, and eyes that burned with a righteous fire. The gargoyle stretched its wings, feeling the freedom that came with the cover of night. It surveyed the city below, searching for the faintest whispers of distress or signs of wrongdoing. Its senses were heightened, attuned to the cries of the innocent and the malicious intent of the wicked. On its first night, the gargoyle found itself drawn to a dark alley where a young woman was being accosted by two men. Their laughter was cruel, and their intentions were clear. Without hesitation, the gargoyle swooped down, its wings creating a gust of wind that blew trash and debris into the air. The men looked up, their faces contorted with fear as they saw the creature descending upon them. The gargoyle landed with a thud, its claws digging into the pavement. It roared, a sound that echoed through the alley and sent shivers down the spines of the attackers. The men tried to flee, but the gargoyle was swift and relentless. With a swipe of its claw, it knocked one man into a wall, leaving him dazed and unconscious. The other man stumbled back, his eyes wide with terror, before the gargoyle lifted him by the collar and brought him face to face with its glowing eyes. "Leave this city and never return," the gargoyle growled, its voice like the rumble of distant thunder. The man nodded frantically, his body shaking with fear. The gargoyle released him, and he scrambled away, his footsteps echoing through the empty streets. The young woman, still trembling, looked up at her savior. What are you?" she whispered. But the gargoyle simply unfurled its wings and took to the sky, disappearing into the night without a word. Night after night, the gargoyle continued its vigil over Chicago. It thwarted muggings, broke up drug deals, and dismantled human trafficking rings. The city's criminal underworld whispered of a new terror, a creature that appeared from the shadows to deliver justice. They called it the Night Guardian, and its presence struck fear into the hearts of those who sought to do harm. One night, the gargoyle found itself drawn to the docks, where a shipment of illegal weapons was being unloaded. It perched on a rooftop, watching as a group of armed men transferred crates from a ship to waiting trucks. The gargoyle knew that these weapons would bring only pain and suffering to the city it had sworn to protect. With a mighty leap, the gargoyle descended upon the men, its claws slashing through the air. Gunfire erupted, but the bullets bounced harmlessly off its stony skin. The men shouted in panic, their bravado quickly turning to desperation as they faced the relentless fury of the Night Guardian. One by one, the gargoyle incapacitated the men, leaving them unconscious and bound for the authorities to find. It tore open the crates, rendering the weapons useless before flying off into the night, leaving behind only the sound of its wings and the echoes of its fierce battle cry. As the gargoyle's legend grew, so did the fear it instilled in the city's criminals. Those who encountered the Night Guardian spoke of its glowing eyes, its powerful wings, and the way it seemed to know their deepest fears. Some claimed it could read their thoughts, predicting their every move. Others whispered that it was a demon, sent to punish them for their sins. The gargoyle's true power lay not just in its physical strength, but in its ability to haunt the minds of those it pursued. The criminals it targeted were driven to madness, plagued by nightmares of the creature's fearsome visage. They saw its eyes in the shadows, heard its roar in the silence of their own homes. Some turned themselves in, preferring the safety of prison to the terror of the Night Guardian's wrath. But the gargoyle's enemies were not only human. Chicago had its own share of dark, paranormal forces, and the gargoyle found itself battling creatures that fed on fear and chaos. One night, as it patrolled the rooftops, it sensed a disturbance in the air, a chill that spoke of something unnatural. Following the sensation, the gargoyle found itself at an old, abandoned church. The building had long been rumored to be haunted, and now it pulsed with a sinister energy. Inside, a group of cultists had summoned a demon, a monstrous being that threatened to unleash havoc on the city. The gargoyle burst through the church's stained glass window, landing amidst the shocked cultists. The demon, a towering figure with horns and fiery eyes, turned to face the intruder. The cultists chanted, their voices rising in a crescendo as they tried to complete their ritual. The gargoyle charged, its claws glowing with a mystical energy as it faced off against the demon. The two clashed in a battle that shook the very foundations of the church. The gargoyle's roars mixed with the demon's growls, a symphony of power and fury. With a final, decisive strike, the gargoyle banished the demon back to the abyss from which it came. The cultists, their leader defeated, scattered into the night, their plans thwarted by the Night Guardian. The people of Chicago never knew who or what protected them. They whispered stories of a creature that fought for justice, a silent sentinel that watched over the city. Some believed it was a guardian angel, others thought it was a vengeful spirit. But no one ever saw the gargoyle up close, for it always vanished before the dawn. The gargoyle preferred it that way. It was a creature of the night, bound to its duty by ancient magic and a sense of honor. It did not seek recognition or gratitude, its only desire was to protect the innocent and punish the wicked. One fateful night, the gargoyle faced its greatest challenge yet. A powerful crime lord, known only as the Serpent, had taken control of the city's underworld. Ruthless and cunning, the Serpent had evaded capture for years, his influence spreading like a poison through Chicago. The gargoyle had been watching the Serpent for weeks, waiting for the right moment to strike. That night, it followed him to a secluded warehouse, where a meeting of the city's most dangerous criminals was taking place. The gargoyle knew this was its chance to bring down the Serpent and his empire once and for all. The warehouse was heavily guarded, but the gargoyle moved with the silence of a shadow, taking out the guards one by one. It slipped inside, its eyes scanning the room for the Serpent. There he was, standing at the center of the gathered criminals, his presence commanding and menacing. The gargoyle leaped from the rafters, landing in the midst of the criminals. Chaos erupted as the creature unleashed its fury, its claws and wings a blur of motion. The criminals fought back, but they were no match for the Night Guardian's strength and determination. The Serpent watched in horror as his men fell before the gargoyle's onslaught. He tried to flee, but the gargoyle was faster. It cornered him, its glowing eyes boring into his soul. "Your reign of terror ends tonight," the gargoyle growled, its voice filled with righteous anger. The Serpent, trembling with fear, fell to his knees. "Please, spare me," he begged. "I'll leave the city, I'll disappear forever." The gargoyle's eyes narrowed. "You have caused too much pain and suffering. There can be no mercy for you." With a final, powerful strike, the gargoyle ended the Serpent's life, ensuring that his influence would never again taint the city. The remaining criminals, seeing their leader defeated, fled into the night, their spirits broken. As the first light of dawn began to creep over the horizon, the gargoyle returned to its perch high above the city. Its stone skin began to reform, its wings folding in as it prepared to sleep. The Night Guardian had fulfilled its duty once again, protecting Chicago from the forces of evil. The city below began to stir, unaware of the battles fought and the lives saved during the night. The people went about their daily lives, never knowing the true extent of the danger they had been spared. But the gargoyle knew, and it was content. It would awaken again with the setting sun, ready to continue its eternal vigil. The Night Guardian would remain forever a silent protector, a shadow in the darkness, ensuring that the city of Chicago could sleep safely under its watchful eyes. Years passed, and the legend of the Night Guardian grew. Stories of the gargoyle's heroic deeds spread, becoming part of the city's folklore. New generations heard tales of the creature that defended the innocent and punished the wicked, a symbol of hope and justice. Yet, no one ever truly knew the gargoyle's identity or the extent of its power. It remained an enigma, a guardian shrouded in mystery. The people of Chicago found comfort in the knowledge that the Night Guardian was watching over them, a silent force of good in a world often filled with darkness. And so, the gargoyle continued its eternal watch, bound to the city it had chosen to protect. It was a creature of the night, unseen and unknown, yet ever present in the hearts and minds of those who believed in its legend. The Night Guardian of Chicago, a timeless protector, forever watching, forever guarding, forever unseen.